Hey everyone, Superboy of Australia here, and today we're talking about the best superhero show you've never heard of, Superboy. Before we got the Connor Kent Superboy, who was the clone of Superman that we all know and love, there was a younger version of Superman known as Superboy, who was using his powers in order to protect the people of Smallville, while still developing his origins powers, as well as the origin stories of Lex Luthor, Bizarro, and the Phantom Zone. The Salkinds, the producers of the first three Superman movies, originally wanted to make a Superman TV series in direct continuity with the films, but due to copyright issues with Warner Brothers, they weren't given exactly the rights, so they decided to make a Superboy series with slight alterations. In this show, Clark and Lana are college students at Schuster University in Florida. Schuster, get it? As Clark would practice journalism by working for the school paper alongside his roommate, T.J. White, photographer and son of Perry White, editor-in-chief of the Daily Planet, Clark's job, with Lex Luthor appearing as a guest, being a spoiled rich kid and senior student, and with the series going from 1988 to 1992, I'm going to talk about it, because this show was incredibly underrated, and I love it so much. So I'm going to talk about the first episode of Season 1, The Jewel of Technical. In this episode, Lana's father is an archaeologist who she doesn't get to see very much, as he's coming to Florida for his new discovery to put at the museum, the crown jewel of the Aztec Temple of Technical. After Lana refuses to go on a date with Lex Luthor, good call, Lana. It's revealed by taking the jewel from the temple, Lana's father has unleashed a terrible curse, which is laying waste to the museum and eventually gives him a deadly illness. In order to save Lana's father, Superboy must take the jewel back to Technical, but Lex Luthor steals the jewel in order to sell to the highest bidder. As Luthor hides it in a lead chest, revealing that Superboy, with his X-ray vision, can't see through lead, Superboy is temporarily weakened. After Lex gets away, Superboy gets his powers back because, considering the fact that he's not human, it only affects him temporarily, as it hurts humans to the point where they almost die. With his powers back, Superboy flies after Lex, sends him to police, returns the jewel to the temple, saves Lana's father, and high-fives TJ. And that's the story of Superboy and the Jewel of Technical. Like what you're seeing/hearing? Stay tuned for more recaps on great adventures of Superboy! And go check out the show, it's really good. Hey everyone, Superboy of Australia here, and today I'm going to be recapping another episode of Superboy, Back to Oblivion. In this episode, Clark's reporter friend in training, TJ, learns of a person who was attacked by a scrapyard. It's revealed that the owner of said scrapyard, a man named Dr. Wagner, played by the legendary actor Abe Vigoda, has gone insane and tries to drown TJ in a bunch of product placement. Pepsi, Coke, Mountain Dew. It was the 80s, you could do what you want back then. As Lana is trying to get Clark to swim with him, trust me kids, the 80s were different back then. Clark hears TJ's cry for help and quick changes into Superboy, and saves TJ from being crushed to death by a bunch of product placement. As TJ explains the scenario to his friends, Clark and Lana, Lana is in denial, for this Dr. Ragnar character is revealed to be a professor who gave lectures years ago against drug use. So, Lana goes off on her own to see what the problem is. It's revealed, of course, that Dr. Wagner was a survivor of the Auschwitz concentration camp. Pretty much think the Holocaust, but the Nazis are trying to mind control you. Indeed, the years of isolation have taken a heavy toll on him, to the point where he believes that World War II is still happening, and that Lana is his long-lost granddaughter, Lena, who was kidnapped by Nazis. Keeping her inside the operation room, believing it's for her own good, Clark and TJ go to investigate in order to find Lana. Believing them to be Nazis, Wagner activates a set of traps which causes TJ to accidentally set off the mine and Clark to be crushed to death by a bunch of scrap metal. As Clark is presumed dead, he quick changes into Superboy, saves TJ and goes to save Lana, and starts busting down the door. As Wagner is getting flashbacks, Lana reveals that a few years afterwards, he gave a lecture at the Daily Planet about his survival experience. Despite this does no good, for Dr. Wagner keeps on getting flashbacks when the Nazis almost captured him, leaving him to have no choice but to blow up the entire scrapyard. Superboy uses his super hearing to hear that Dr. Wagner has planted the door with dynamite, and if anyone tries to barricade the door open, it will blow up, killing everyone in the scrapyard. Finding an alternative, Superboy busts in to save Lana. Scared and confused, Dr. Wagner tries to shoot Superboy, believing him to be a Nazi and refusing to let them take his granddaughter again. Showing the hard way that he's bulletproof, the bullets bounce off Superboy. King Wagner believed that he killed his granddaughter, realizing he failed her again. The episode ends with them taking Wagner to a hospital, and finally with Wagner coming to his senses, and with Clark questioning his morals. Tune in next time for another Superboy! First things first, I know I'm not wearing the hoodie, but that's okay, I will wear it next time. I couldn't find it in time for this episode. With that out of the way, hey everyone, Superboy of Australia here, and I'm going to recap another episode of Superboy. Today, we're looking at an episode called The Russian Exchange Student. Now, in this episode, it's revealed that Clark's friend TJ is dating the Russian exchange student, Natasha. Not only are they dating, but they're madly in love with each other. Like, seriously, it's really cute to see TJ fight over Natasha in this episode. I really like the add-on of TJ's character throughout the season. I actually really like the character of TJ, and the fact that they focus on his character in several episodes kind of adds strength to it a bit more and makes it all the more enjoyable. But let's get more into Natasha. Natasha, alongside her classmate Jeff, presumably played by Malachi from Children of the Corn, are both working as lab assistants for the physics professor, played by Ray Walton. After the lab computer blows up, Natasha is blamed for it being the last person to leave the lab while they were out. The professor's pride gets the better of him as Natasha feels rejected and forced onto him. And since she can't just get out of the exchange program, it just makes her feel like the professor will hate her more being forced onto him. It's revealed that the professor is working on a formula that can reduce the need for petrol, which will reduce the price of oil by 90% and reduce pollution within forests and oceans. With the help of the US military, it seems to be a success as it successfully powers up a US military car. But Clark with his X-ray vision and Professor, by hearing the sound of it, know that something is about to go horribly wrong. As the formula is about to explode, Clark quick changes into Superboy and saves the Professor. It's revealed that someone mixed ether into the concoction. Natasha gets set up once again once the ether is found in her locker, leaving her to get arrested, only to get released in exchange that she leaves the country in 3 days, where it's revealed that the real saboteur is Jeff. It's revealed that Jeff is a spy for the Atwater Oil Corporation. Learning this, TJ is able to prove Natasha's innocence, but is really pissed off at Jeff, until he gets thrown out a window. Luckily, Superboy is able to save him, but Jeff is able to escape, ties up Natasha and the Professor, and tries to set the lab on fire, escaping with all the information on the formula. After the Professor apologizes to Natasha for letting his stupid prejudice get the better of him, Superboy blows out the fire with his super breath, and Jeff gets arrested after getting punched in the face by TJ. Good show, my boy! The Professor is reassigned to work in Russia with Natasha as his assistant, with the episode ending with a kiss goodbye with TJ and Natasha. Hey everyone, Superboy of Australia here, and today I'm going to be talking about the episode The Beast and the Beauty. In this episode, the plot revolves around this beauty pageant, with the representative of Florida being Miss Florida, Jennifer. It's revealed that Jennifer had a crush on Superboy, leaving her stalker, Hugo, to take this to his advantage. Hugo not only dresses up like Superboy, but also breaks into places as Superboy and starts robbing banks and jewelry stores alike, leaving the real Superboy to take the fall. Due to the dismay of his police friend Detective Harris, he has no choice but to take Superboy in. As his bail is reduced to $500 for just being Superboy, Lana and TJ manage to bail Superboy out. However, Hugo eventually kidnaps Jennifer. As TJ sees him and tries to stop him, he beats him up. As TJ is attended to by an ambulance, the real Superboy goes after Hugo. As Hugo leaves Jennifer at his base of operation, guarded by his henchmen, Hugo drives off to find a minister so he and Jennifer can run off and get married with a buttload of cash. You know, the typical criminal yandere sort of stuff. As Hugo tries to make his way towards a bridge, he is confronted by the real Superboy. Now changed into a Superboy outfit, Hugo challenges the real Superboy to a fight on man against man without needs of superpowers. Superboy accepts this challenge, and without using his powers, they fight. And by fight, I mean Hugo punches him in the face and didn't count on his invulnerability and breaks his hand. Well, it's not entirely broken, but it still hurts pretty bad. But he kicks him in the leg, but that's just as dumb as punching him in the face. He then tries to tackle him, but accidentally falls off the bridge. He releases Superboy of the agreement, he saves him, frees Jennifer, Hugo confesses about his crimes and gets sent to prison, and the day is saved. The episode ends with Jennifer winning the beauty pageant and all is well. Sometimes I kind of forget that this show was made in the 80s. Thanks for watching. I know I was really late on this one, but I promise that more are on the way. So stay tuned for another Superboy! Hi everyone, Superboy of Australia here, and today I'll be recapping the episode known as The Fixer. In this episode, we're introduced to the character of Stretch. Now Stretch plays for the Schuster basketball team, and he's so good that he wins the game almost every season. But as Schuster is currently going up against the state team, Lex Luthor is actually blackmailing Stretch. It's revealed that Luthor is betting $5,000 against Schuster. In order to get his money by the end of the game, Luthor threatens to expose Stretch with a picture of him toking. You know, the 80s. Well, the story, kids, if you want to be a basketball player, don't do drugs or get caught at parties. When the big game finally happens, it's revealed that Lex has also paid off the referee, who judges the team really unfairly. As Clark figures this out, he threatens to expose the referee unless he quits his job and runs away. Therefore, Superboy steps in and volunteers as ref. After Superboy judges the game in a fair way, Stretch ends up winning the team for Schuster. Due to the dismay of Lex, he sends his sidekick, Leo, to expose the photo of Stretch. But Superboy is able to destroy the photo with his heat vision. At the end of the day, the team wins, and Superboy wins the day again. Oh, and I forgot to mention, during a scene with Clark Kent and Lex Luthor, Lex says the best line I've ever heard in a superhero TV show. Quote this. Rah, rah, rah. Sis boom ba. Go, Schuster. Tune in for the next episode for another adventure of Superboy. Hi everyone, Superboy of Australia here. I know I've been away for quite a while, I've been quite busy, but I'm back with a few more Superboy episodes, and considering the fact that there's like 100 episodes in the show, there's a lot to cover. I won't cover all of them, in case you guys were wondering, but we need to get through Season 1 as soon as possible, so let's get into today's episode. Today's story is The Alien Solution. So, typical Superboy episode, Superboy saves Lana. But the difference here, it's not just being watched by the audience of the show, it's being watched by an alien. This alien specifically is a pink cloud that can take over people's bodies. And can only do that, but has been collecting the bodies of alien warriors for his personal collection, selecting different alien fighters throughout the galaxy. And this year, he wants Superboy! So after Clark and Lana unintentionally flirt with each other, the alien chooses his favorite body, an alien samurai. The samurai holds Lana hostage in hopes of luring out Superboy. As you guessed it, Superboy flies to her rescue, only for the alien to blast him with a laser lance. As Superboy is blasted with a laser into an electric box, that's gotta hurt by the way. This warns Lana to fight back against the alien villain, only for the alien to give her a backhand up against a tree. And instantly, Lana is dead. Grief-stricken Superboy pushes the alien up against a tree, presumably killing it. As the paramedics show up, it's too late for Lana. But Lana isn't entirely dead because Superboy can still, with his super hearing, hear her heartbeat. But on his dying breath, when no one's looking, the alien in his true form sneaks out of the samurai's body and into Lana. As doctors analyze that the alien's body has been dead for a long time, Lana appears to be in shock, and there's no way of telling if she'll ever wake up. While Lana is asleep on her bedside in the hospital, Clark confesses his absolute love for her. Hearing this in Lana's body provokes the alien to get up out of bed and make Lana kill herself unless Superboy surrenders to him. Superboy surrenders for the sake of Lana and follows the alien to his ship in space. As the alien shows off his collection and plans to make Superboy his latest addition, Superboy, with his heat vision, destroys all the incapacitated bodies. This provokes the alien to fly back to Earth to kill Lana. Superboy is able to fly there first and uses an unused oxygen tank and is able to suck the alien through his super breath into the tank. With the alien foe defeated, Clark is happy to find out that Lana is awake and almost ready for a full recovery. The episode ends with Clark storing the tank away in the fridge of a cryogenics lab. But caution, this isn't the last we see of the alien. Stay tuned for another adventure of Superboy! Hey everyone, Superboy of Australia here, and today we're going to cover the story, The Invisible People. And before we begin, I'd just like to add that the director of this episode was a special guest, a late actor by the name of Jackie Cooper. Now, unfortunately to say, I don't really know Jackie Cooper for a lot of roles, but any Superman fan can recognize him as Perry White from the original film franchise, which is also ironic considering the fact that one of the characters in Season 1 is TJ Wright, Perry White's son. Cool trivia for you, Dad. Now, on with the episode. On a beach in Florida, a country club is run by one millionaire by the name of Gerald Manfred. And just outside the country club, specifically more on the beach, are an array of tents containing millions and millions of homeless people. Well, not millions, give or take a few dozen, but you get the idea. As Clark, TJ, and Lana go to cover the story for the school newspaper in Lana's political science class, we're introduced to the leader of the pack, Damon, who used to be... Damon not only has several law degrees, but used to be the vice president of 3 major corporations. He eventually gave this up in order to help people all over the world, anywhere he can find. Specifically with these people, they were all promised a job by Gerald Manfred only for them to blow him over. In order to sell the land in which the country club is built on for about $3 million, Manfred has his men set a Martell cocktail on one of the tents, causing it to set on fire. As the group tries to put out the fire by means of getting buckets of water from the ocean and splashing on it, while no one's looking, Clark uses his super breath to pour sand on the fire. In order to help out the group, next day, Clark, TJ, and Lana are able to get food for all the homeless people, trying their best to help out in this situation. Knowing he's a problem, Manfred has Damon kidnapped, and as a diversion, his men knock out TJ and make him drive a van while he's unconscious and head straight for the beach. As Superboy is able to save him in time, he comes up with a plan in order to find Damon. As Lana and the rest of the group go out to find Damon, they purchase balloons from a local vendor. That way, if they see anything, they can just let go of one of them and Superboy will see it instantly. As Lana finds out to where they're holding Damon, she herself gets captured. But luckily, Alice, one of the homeless women, is able to set off a balloon, warning Superboy. As Manfred offers Damon $10,000 in order to get all the people off the beach, he refuses. So he goes to kill both Damon and Lana. But Superboy literally drops in to save the day. After Superboy frees Damon, Damon agrees not to press charges on Manfred in exchange that he gives everyone else housing and jobs. If he doesn't, Superboy's after him. And you know you need to get shit done if Superboy's on your back. With everyone currently employed, Damon goes off to help the nearest people he can find. Tune in for another adventure of Superboy! Hey everybody, Superboy of Australia here, and today I'm going to recap a very important episode in the series, Kryptonite Kills. And as you can tell, this is the episode where Kryptonite is introduced. But unfortunately for you, it only gets called Kryptonite in the episode Metallo in Season 2. So they never actually referred to it as Kryptonite, but for the sake of simplicity, we'll just call it Kryptonite regardless. Our story begins in the African country of Addis Ababa, where 2 brothers discover a meteorite containing, you guessed it, Kryptonite. Now if you don't know, Addis Ababa is actually where Kryptonite was discovered in the comics, as well as the Superman movie from 1978, produced by the Salkinds, who produced the show. And although other properties simplified this by saying Kryptonite was found in Smallville where Clark's ship landed, I still think this is a good detail. Anyways, in this episode we're introduced to the character of Professor Pearson, who here is played by an actor named George Chakiris. Fun trivia, he's most known for his part in The Heights, a musical from the 60s. Though I haven't seen In the Heights, those who have, let me know if it's good. I want to see it sometime. As Clark, TJ, and Lana are in Professor Peterson's geology class, he introduces the class to the newfound meteorite, which is of course kryptonite. Being exposed to the meteorite for the first time, Clark passes out in class. And while no one's looking, Lex Luthor, who's also taking the class, steals the meteorite knowing its radioactive properties. Lex then gives the kryptonite to two computer nerds who use it to power a machine. This machine creates electrical distortion, so they aim the machine at a main power plant where all the electricity is stored in order to create a blackout for Lex Luthor and his men to commit robberies. But Superboy is there and is able to use himself as a living conductor to prevent the cables from exploding. In order to avoid suspicion by the police, Lex hides the kryptonite by giving it to his girlfriend Veronica as a necklace. Here's a subplot. Clark's friend TJ actually has a crush on Veronica. Later on, when Lex and Veronica have a candlelight dinner, Lex hears that the cops might be onto him, so he flips out and accidentally sets fire to his dorm room. Luckily, Superboy is there to save the day, but because of the kryptonite, he ends up passing out. So that sucks. After Lex saves himself, he sends his sidekick, Leo, to get the rock. Once Veronica is pulled out and the meteorite is gone, Superboy realizes that meteorite is what's making him sick, and he's able to put out the fire with his super breath. Renouncing her feelings for Lex Luthor, Veronica throws the necklace into a lead storm drain. Good pull, Veronica. With Lex Luthor beaten and humiliated, Superboy reports all this to his scientist friend, Professor Peterson. Putting in the box made out of lead, the one element that Superboy can't see through and can neutralize the effect of kryptonite, Superboy throws it into space. Stay tuned for another Superboy!